nothing prepares you for the actual race.
The whole race is hard from the get-go. Training for this race is hard.
It's 100% from the start until either you crack or your competitors crack.
It is definitely an emotional race.
You go through all different stages when you're out there. I think you're really tested.
It's not just you racing out there, there's family members, there's best friends, you know, there's a whole support crew that go into making this race from start to finish a possibility.
I think I love it because it's such an iconic race, and I love the mental side of it and the physical side of it.
I'm hungry enough. Whether I'm talented enough is a different question, but it's one of those races where if you work hard enough, eventually you get out of it something that you deserve.
Over a race like this, the first thing that comes to mind is, how am I going to go? You automatically fast forward the race and you worry about the results straight away. When am I going to come?
You have to perceive yourself as doing it easy and comfortably when others are doing it harder. And if you look across to your right or your left and you see those guys blowing a little bit, then you might only get one opportunity.
You know you can finish it, it's just how strong you can finish it and how hard you want to push yourself.
The Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold. An iconic race, Surf Life Saving's ultimate test of endurance. Originally conceptualised for a feature film, the race captured the imagination of a nation, and the inaugural event, also shot for the film, impacted the Gold Coast like none before it. With thousands looking on in 1984, Guy Leach took victory and became an instant legend. The winners list reserved for an exclusive club and packed with the sport's best, including Darren Mercer and Zane Holmes. However, it would be 2 decades before anyone would challenge Guy Leach's status as the King of the Gold. But when little-known Kane Eckstein crossed the finish line in 2005 to become the youngest winner of the race, no one could have guessed this unassuming lad with a past that mirrored the original movie script would surpass the achievements of Guy Leach and claim 5 victories in this gruelling test. Last year, in Kane's absence, another young gun of the sport heralded his arrival, Ali Day.
You almost get that feeling that you don't deserve to be on that trophy as well. You look along the names and you think, oh, you know, Michael King and Kane Eckstein, Guy Leach and Rhys Jury and Darren Mercer, they're all better than me, and Zane Holmes, like they're better Ironman than me. But then I guess sometimes you got to think, as Kingy says to me, you know, you're up alongside those guys now, mate. So, you know, be happy, be proud of what you've done.
This year, he will look to add a second victory over the 41.8 kilometre long course. Women joined the event in 2005, competing over a shorter course than the men, but still a gruelling 30+ kilometres. And for 6 years, just 2 names graced the trophy, Hayley Baitup and Alicia Marriott. Then, in 2011, Courtney Hancock finally broke through to capture her maiden victory.
I really did want to retire with this sport with a crown in the Coolangatta Gold, the Aussies and the Iron Woman series. I said to myself I'd be happy if I walked away from the sport with just one of those.
Last year, Brodie Moyer silenced her critics with a gutsy performance to claim victory just ahead of the defending champion.
I guess, you know, last year when I caught Courtney on the board was definitely a moment I won't ever forget. And then also the moment I broke her in the run on the way home.
It's Saturday morning at the Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold, and our short course competitors are assembling by the water's edge, ready to tackle the 33.6 kilometre race. It all begins with a 14.6 kilometre ski paddle that will take our competitors to Miami Beach. From there, a run over the hill and down to Burleigh will set them for the 2.5 kilometre swim circuit. Returning to Burleigh, athletes will grab their boards and paddle out around the headland and continue for 6.1 kilometres until they reach Currumbin Creek. Then they are on to the final 7.1 kilometre run to finish at Coolangatta Surf Club. Competing in the men's event is young star of the Kellogg's Nutrigrain Ironman series, Kendrick Louis, and two-time Australian Ironman champion, Pierce Leonard. In the women's, Alyssa Bull goes in favourite. She's seen plenty of success in endurance events and this race previously.
I won the Noosa round of the series last year, round 6, and I got third at Coolam, round 5. And I've won the Coolangatta Gold in under 15s, under 17s and under 19s.
Along with the elite, many everyday clubbies test themselves over the short course, in categories ranging from under 19s to masters men and women, and the team's events. They are first to leave the beach, some brimming with confidence, others apprehensive about what they are about to tackle. With our masters and teams away, it's time for the Open Women. They assemble on the water for a start. Alyssa Bull recently earned a place on the AIS Junior Kayak team, and her power on the ski is evident.
I've been doing a lot of kayaking. I went to Canada for Junior Worlds this year and raced for Australia in the under 18 team, so my ski paddling has picked up quite a bit.
The Gold Coast, Australia's ultimate beachside playground, where fun in the sun is an everyday promise. However, for our athletes taking part in the Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold, the idyllic surrounds will for at least one day blur into the background as they tackle the torturous course in the ski, swim, board and run. Today, it's the short course, and our open age group and teams competitors are already coming in off the ski at Miami Beach. The women are paddling towards that same destination, and our open men are yet to start. They were now assembled on Coolangatta Beach. Many seeing it as a race in two, Ironman star Kendrick Louis taking on multiple Australian Ironman champion Pierce Leonard. Impressive performances in the Ironman Series endurance events leave Kendrick as a slight favourite for this 33.6 kilometre test. Away cleanly, the men powering through the water at breakneck pace. Everyone searching for runs or the best position in the pack. In the women's, as many had expected, it was Alyssa Bull who had opened up a sizable advantage on the ski. Behind her, the rest of the women's field were chasing hard, knowing that Alyssa's strongest leg was now behind her.
Obviously go out hard on the ski and see if anyone stays with you or is in front of you so you can ride their wash, or if anyone's riding your wash, you want to try and shake them off and just try and put as many Ks, many metres on them as possible for that ski leg. And then once you're off the ski, that first run is crucial to go hard, because while they're still coming in on the ski, you're running on the beach away from them.
And as the women made their way out into the swim, our men's field were approaching Miami on their skis. Kendrick Louis already in control of the race, but still with a long way home and a two-time Australian Ironman champion on his tail, Pierce Leonard. The swim had made little difference to our women's field. Alyssa Bull still leading as she headed around to the board. 13.2 kilometres stood between her and victory. It was a similar story in the men's race. Kendrick Louis maintaining the distance between him and Pierce Leonard in the swim. And whilst Alyssa Bull held a commanding lead out on the board, there was one to catch her, our men's leader, Kendrick Louis.
Well, you've got to race your own race. You can't focus too much on who's around you, but obviously you want to make sure you know if anyone is close to you, and try and stay in front of them or try and catch them if you can. But it is your own race and you've got to go by your own race plan, because that's what you've worked out. You can't change halfway through a race because it might not turn out.
Working hard, Alyssa Bull managed to hang on to the wake of Kendrick. And they would both catch the same wave back into Currumbin Beach. Once on the beach, Kendrick Louis powered away, heading for home. 7.1 kilometres of legwork, all that was standing between him and victory. And as many expected, he did just that. Kendrick Louis taking victory on the short course at the Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold.
Mate, it was a tough race. I knew from the start, racing against Pierce, he's always going to be a tough competitor, and it's sort of hard with him. You never know what he's doing, if he's training or whatnot, and he always seems to turn up on the day and put up a good fight. So, going into it, I knew from the start on the ski leg, it's one of my strongest legs. I just had to go for it. Getting on the board, just punching back into it, it was torture. Like, the wind started blowing full southeast. It's one of those races where you've just got to stay strong and mental toughness the whole way. And I know for a fact it's definitely not as hard as the one the boys are going to be hitting out tomorrow. But I think it's always going to, the day before, there's going to be boys who don't want to do the long one and want to have a good hit out in the short course race. So I think definitely, it's going to be a very competitive race, come the next few years.
Kendrick Louis dominates the field, taking the win ahead of Pierce Leonard, Bradley Dowen, Michael Moran, Adam Jeffrey and James Hay. In the women's, Alyssa Bull is too strong for her competitors, taking a convincing victory.
Pretty tough out there today. It was good on the way down in the ski, but coming back into that chop on the board and for that last bit of the swim leg was pretty rough, but yeah, it was a good day.
Now that you've ticked all the boxes off in the short course, is there any chance we could see you do the long course next year?
Hopefully, definitely if my preparation next year is a bit better. I had a few hiccups this year, but hopefully definitely want to try and tackle it next year.
Alyssa Bull captures the women's short course ahead of 16-year-old Jess Suriano, who herself is impressive on debut, whilst Olivia Hall rounds out our women's podium. Queensland's Gold Coast, much more than a relaxing holiday destination. The excitement capital of the nation. It guarantees to deliver a special experience for everyone lucky enough to visit. Today, many have made their way here from around the nation for the Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold. An iconic event for decades, and now it has grown in popularity so much that it has transformed into a two-day festival of surf sports, with not only the short and long course races for those willing, but also a 5k fun run and the Great Gold Coast Swim presented by Ironman legend Kai Hurst for those wanting to test the waters. Age, experience or outfit no barrier if you're keen to have a go. With many different categories and distances on offer, there is something for everyone. From the sports elite down to everyday clubbies and beachgoers that have made their way to Coolangatta Beach to join in the festivities. In many ways, the Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold is a welcome to summer. A chance to store away any winter blues and look forward with promise to the warmer days ahead. Day 2, it's all about the torturous long course. Open men and open women will compete along with Masters men and open teams. It starts with a gruelling 23-kilometre ski paddle, which teases our athletes as they pass their final destination at Miami and forces them to travel a further 4 kilometres up and back. They then face a 2-kilometre run to Burleigh, where they enter the water for a 3.5-kilometre swim. Exiting the water metres from where they left, they then transition to the board for the 6-kilometre paddle to Currumbin Beach, leaving just the testing 7.1-kilometre run back to Coolangatta Surf Club to the finish. The 41.8-kilometre journey, a long one, but for everyone here, the path to this point has been much longer. Take Liz Plumers. Her past history with the event is a story of heartache and disappointment. Despite finishing in the top 3 5 times, Liz has never held the trophy aloft.
I was only really young when I first did the Coolangatta Gold. I think I was 17 or 18. I mean, that's not really young, but young enough. And I sort of didn't know what to expect either, and I ended up coming 3rd, so I was very happy with that. And that's the worst I've ever done in a Coolangatta Gold. So I've always finished on the podium, just never on the top of the podium. So that's the goal this year. It is definitely an emotional race. It's something some people just go into to tick off the bucket list. So it's an iconic race that everyone just wants to be a part of. So I guess that's one side of things, but for me it's the racing side, and I really want to be up there at the end, and I keep pushing my body to that next level, sometimes a little bit too much and you don't quite make it, but you've just got to know your limits and try and stick to it.
It was in 2009 that Elizabeth Plumers learnt the hard way what happens if you push too far. Heading toward the line in third place, and with only metres left to travel, Plumers had nothing left to give. Exhausted and dehydrated, she could no longer go on. It wasn't until later in hospital she would learn she hadn't finished the race. And then in 2011, at her 5th attempt, it looked that she may finally break the curse. Plumers and Hancock battled out on the run, stride for stride. Until an error in judgment will once again cost Plumers victory in the race she longs to win more than any other. Many would have thrown in the towel at that point. The disappointment of a 5th podium too bitter to swallow. And Plumers did in fact take a year out from the sport.
I think I've come back a lot mentally stronger. Before I left, I was sort of struggling, having to get up and go training in the mornings, and that was a really, really tough mental battle for me. So to have that time off, I've come back and I've sort of found that love again, so it's good to be back into it.
Liz was not ready to give up on her dream of being crowned the Coolangatta Gold champion. And today, Liz Plumers stands on the beach with 14 other elite women. The atmosphere, one of nervous anticipation, as all are about to enter the unknown.
Yeah, it's not the men's course, it's just the long course now. And it's so cool that we get to have a part of, be a part of it and finally get to do it.
It is going to be a different sort of race. Tactics is going to play a big role, but yeah, you never know what's going to happen. It's sort of that unknown feeling at the moment without anyone having raced it before.
I think this year is really the most important that it's ever going to be, because the girls have stepped up finally. I think it is going to be quite sad that someone like Hayley Baidup's not going to be there on Sunday racing, because she's pushed for this for many years. So, and I've been there with her trying to get this course going, and to actually, be a part of this field on Sunday, it's yeah, I'm trying not to think about it too much, to get too excited and use too much of my energy, because I'll definitely need all my energy on Sunday. But it's going to be an amazing day. Whatever my result, it's still going to be a fantastic day for the sport.
At race end, one will have earned the right to call herself the first ever women's long course champion. And as they leave Coolangatta Beach and head out to the deep water start, there are 4 names everyone is talking about. Hancock.
Just got to go out with how I feel and just have confidence and belief in myself that I know I've done the work, I know I've got it up here. It's my home out there, the ocean.
Plumers.
You always dream of different scenarios and you dream of what it's going to be like, but yeah, I'd love to just finish across the line first.
Moya.
It's really good to do a race, especially with those 2 girls, and think, you know what, let's just battle it out. We've all done the work, let's just see what we can do.
And young Geordie Mercer.
Although it's got that title, the Coolangatta Gold, that sends sort of shivers down the spine, it's a brand new race, and for the women, it's never been done before. So I think that that's something that we should all be looking forward to, and it's exciting to think that that's the future of the sport.
Game on!
I guess you've got to break down the race into little sections just to keep you going. You've got to keep focused and just stick to your race plan. So starting on that start line, it'll be a quick start, so you've got to be on the ball to go with, and then you've got to try and stay with that front group and then just lengthen out and stick to your own race plan.
I think in sessions I've just tried to go out hard from the start. When we've done a few paddles, 20 Ks, and I just go boom and just start sprinting. And then if I get 2 Ks to go and I die, well then next time I do the paddle I go, okay, when you get to 2 Ks, hopefully you'll be able to bring it home a bit faster. There's also been a few whales out at the moment, so I've been trying to paddle away from them. So maybe that's been helping. I'm not too sure, but they're big animals.
I've learnt so much each and every year at the Coolangatta Gold. I think that this is just like back to school each and every year. You think that I've got it in the bag, you know, and in saying that, you really don't know that everything's going to go perfectly to plan. It's a race from one end to the Gold Coast to the other, and there's so many factors that can play into having the perfect race, and I don't think it will ever be the perfect race, but you know, you do everything you possibly can in your power to sort of make it happen.
I'm just going to try and break it down into segments, and yeah, it just all depends on even the conditions. I guess you can go through 30 scenarios in your head, but until you know what it's like on the day and get your little race plan happening then, you don't know.
The Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold. Our open women are on the water and paddling towards Miami. Meanwhile, back on the beach at Coolangatta, our open men have assembled to do their final checks.
I remember watching it when, look, I may have been 8 or 9 and may have been on video, the old VHS, and I used to think, God, how good's this event? I'd love to do it one day.
I think it's the best day of surf life saving in our sport. It's the best day for the year. It's and not just because it's like a long, hard race, which I enjoy. Like, I love that part of it, but it's just everything that goes on around it. Like, I love that everyone jumps on scooters and hammers up and down the Gold Coast, and I love the stories that come out of it. Reece Drew's win in 2007, like Kingy's win in 91, I think it was, and Darren Mercer's Alley's last year. Like, they're just, it's a cool thing. Like, I enjoy it, and it's an integral part of our sport. Like, it's got history. It might be quirky history, but it's got history, and it's important that it keeps going.
This year, as any other, there is a long list of hopefuls looking to engrave their name alongside a select group on the Gold Cup. And only one entrant is already a member of this exclusive club.
From the get-go of that week, but especially that Sunday morning, you know, I remember getting up and having breakfast and still feeling just so nervous and almost, yeah, you feel almost ill. You feel sick, that just because you just don't want anything to go wrong. You don't want all this hard work to go, I guess, unnoticed. But yeah, wading into out of that water then, I guess you just sort of say to yourself, you've got to have faith, Ali. We've done all the right things, we've done the work, and I knew once I hit the beach first, you know, I just started, I guess, pegging it, and I seen a lot of the boys from the club, and then right over Currumbin, I saw Michael King, and it was good seeing him. He was just like, "You relax, mate. Just relax. Just." You could see the finish. You know, I could see where Coolangatta was, and I think Jacob Marksy, one of my mates that was handling for me, he ran down. And he's like, "Mate, you got this is the real time. Lap it up, enjoy it." And I think at that stage, I just not completely switched off, but you know, I was about 2K from the finish and kind of knew that this was going to happen. And yeah, that was a pretty cool feeling when Marksy said that to me. It's the best feeling in the world. It's honestly surreal. You're standing up there, and there's so many people that have helped you, and I think it's so important to go back in time and almost look back at all the people that I said that have helped you, and all the hard times you've faced along the way to that point. I think it's really important to reflect on that, and it's a feeling that's unbeatable, and everyone that's been in that position wants that to happen again, I think. You almost get that feeling that you don't deserve to be on that trophy as well. You look along the names and you think, oh, you know, Michael King and Kane Eckstein, Guy Leach and Reece Dury and Darren Mercer, they're all better than me, and Zane Holmes, like they're better Ironman than me. But then I guess sometimes you got to think, as Kingy says to me, you know, you're up alongside those guys now, mate. So, you know, be happy, be proud of what you've done. You know, if people ask me what was the best feeling in a race or a moment in my life, that's probably one of the most special things I've ever, you know, have happened to me.
But this year, Ali will have his work cut out for him. Veteran Nathan Smith is back for his 5th attempt.
4 Coolangatta Golds later, I've been on the podium all 4 times, but haven't cracked it for the top one, and that's what I'm here for. The strength of Ali Day and Josh Minogue and a lot of the top guys, especially the Queenslanders, is going to be very, very tough, but I'm not here to come 2nd or 3rd, I'm here to win.
And then there's last year's 3rd place getter, Josh Minogue.
This race is one of those things where if you work hard, it pays off, and you don't have to be the most talented in the world, but if you work the hardest, you'll definitely get something out of this race. So you've got your Shannons, your Ali Days, your Poolies, Kai Hurst, Nathan Smith. They're the guys that I always thought were the best Ironmen in the world, and I'll never consider myself one of those guys. And it's I don't sort of put myself in their league, but it doesn't mean when we put our foot on the line, I'm not going to try and dust them up. It's just I think I got more respect than that.
Hugh Doherty will also take on the race for a 2nd time, and his recent form in the Kellogg's Ironman endurance races have many rating him as a favourite amongst the ranks.
I don't know why I'm favourite when you've got guys like Ali, who won it last year, and then Nathan Smith, who's, you know, he's finished in the top 2 or 3 every time he's done it, I think, and, you know, in good fields as well. So I guess my goal is to just try and be any of them and see if I can stick with them. But yeah, I definitely see them as the two guys to beat.
Our competitors paddle out for the deep water start.
There's a few guys in the field who are quite good ski paddlers, and no doubt they're going to try and go out hard and, you know, and try and break away and shake it up a bit. And I guess like guys like, you know, Michael Booth and Brendan Sasser and those sort of guys. I guess I'll sort of be, I don't know, more worried about where Nathan and Ali are. Like if they want to go with the leaders or whatever, I'm going to have to, you know, make sure I go with them, sort of thing.
The Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold. All our competitors are now out on the 41.8 kilometre long course. Scattered across the coastline are not only open men's and women's competitors, but masters men in the 30 to 39 and 40 to 49 age groups. Many of the men and women competing have travelled a long way to get here. However, two are from shores more distant than most.
I was living for a while in a little town in Spain, a coastal town. Not much sport going on, it's more touristic. And in Australia, especially in Bondi, you see all these people like doing the sports, and the ocean is a big part of the community. So that's pretty much the main difference. So I came to Australia and I just joined Bondi Surf Club and I started. I did my bronze and then I started getting, my gold medallion and all the awards. And then someone they told me, why don't you get into competition? So I did a bit of masters competition and then I decided to do the Coolangatta Gold last year, the short course, and this year the long.
Lifesaving isn't that big in Wales. The water's a bit cold for surfing, especially in the winter. You gotta wear thick, like 5mm steamer suits. When I was about 11, 12, we used to go down the beach. You gotta walk about 1.5 miles over the sand dunes to get to it. So it's like on a nature reserve. So we used to always go down there at our local beach. And you see these people up in the top there in a little porta cabin, going in the water with these big boards. So my father went up and asked about it, and we joined, and that was it then.
The main thing that I've been enjoying about this race is all the training sessions. So we've been training for like six months. I can't tell you how many times we've been out there, with dolphins and whales, and waking up in the morning and having the beach by yourself, and it's a beautiful experience.
I really took off with the competing side when our club, which is a small club, we went off to Germany in 1990 for the World Championships. And then it opened it all out to me. It was on the back burners for years, but it was always in the back of my mind to hopefully one day come out and do it.
I really want to enjoy the race and just be able to finish, and my goal would be maybe under 5 hours. We'll see how it goes.
We will go on. Two competitors in a field of hundreds, each with their own individual story to tell. Our open men are setting a frenetic pace on the ski, looking to chase down our open women who were writing history with every turn of the blade. They were quite literally paddling into the unknown, the first time women have ever done the long course, and along with it, the 23-kilometre paddle.
Even though this race is very open, because we've never done it before, no girls ever, we've never done a race past the 3-hour mark, so. But, looking at Brodie's improvement last year, she's a very strong girl, and she's been doing really well. And she obviously, last year, she's got that determination to win. Elizabeth, having last season off, she'll be, she's an extremely hungry competitor, so she'll definitely be out there wanting to, I've seen a look on her face at training, and she definitely wants to get it. So it's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be on for the women's.
Approaching the end of the ski leg, and Elizabeth Plumers has made a move and pushed out to a small lead.
I guess you've done the training and putting all the work into it, you can finish it. It's just how strong you can finish it and how hard you want to push yourself in those first few legs. It's a big difference doing 16 kilometres to 23 kilometres or whatever it is now. So just that extra time on the ski actually hurts the arms a lot more, and then having to go into that swim leg.
The next to hit the beach at Miami, Brodie Moyer and Courtney Hancock.
But I think, especially with women, the older we get, the better we get, especially at long distance. I think And that's why I'm not saying that it's not a red hot field, and I mention Elizabeth and Courtney a lot, because I just think we're just older, and I just think we're just more mature as athletes, and we're just a bit more experienced. And I just think every year I just learn a bit more and I get better and better, and I know myself a little bit more. So I don't think you've seen the best of me yet. So hopefully I can have a really good another good year this year and next year.
Jordan Mercer not too far behind in 4th.
Each of the years that I've done the Coolangatta Gold, and for some reason I just keep wanting to come back for more. You finish and I've had such utter disappointment, but you know, a couple of days later you're itching to sort of try and get back into with preparation and go better, go faster, be stronger. And I think, you know, it's just the event, the aura that this event has, and I think the history that is so strong within our sport, and the heroes and the legends that are on this trophy from years in the past. It really is. It's something that I don't want to miss out on, and I'm going to put in absolute everything I can, you know, dedicate every ounce of my being to training for this one event, the Coolangatta Gold.
And next up is a leg that Jordan needs to nail if she is to be considered a true contender.
I think the swimming has definitely upped, and it's been known as my weaker leg, and that's where it's seen in these races in the past, where I've lost a heap of time up against the other women. So obviously I've been in the pool doing the hard yards.
The swim was really tough for me last year because I went into it and I got a stitch in the swim, and I just remember my ball paddler was like, go, 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 like quicker. I had to stop and I'm like, I've got a stitch, I can't go. Like, stop telling me to go. But so that was really tough for me because I was by myself a bit, and then I did get on Bonnie's wash. So to get a stitch, I'm prone to them. I don't know how to stop them, I guess.
You go through all different stages when you're out there. I think you're really tested among the race. I think a lot of people don't understand that they can watch us. You know, you can watch it on TV, you can be a spectator and just see us go up and down the coast and think, oh, you know, they do this all the time, but it's not. You're going through so many stages where you might need a lift, you might need to back off, you've got to be so technically smart, and then at the end of the day, it's all in here. Who's got the biggest heart, because it's just an extremely tough race, and you do go through, you actually doing this race, you get to realise yourself as a person, get to know yourself as a person more, because the things that you battle out there, you almost think you're crazy. You think this part of my mind's telling me this other part's telling me that, stop, go, you know what to do. So at the end of the day, I think you've just got to have belief and be confident in yourself.
Recapping the positions off the ski in the women's long course, and Elizabeth Plumers hits the beach in a time of 1 hour 57.37. Moira and Hancock just over 1 minute behind, the only others to break the 2 hour barrier. Jordan Mercer is another 2 minutes adrift, ahead of Higginson, Coleman, Devine and Jenkins. The Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold, set on the idyllic Gold Coast, and the stunning shoreline is being covered by our open men's field. Two have managed to break free from the pack. Last year's champion Ali Day and surf ski specialist Michael Booth.
you've got to get to the front and you've got to get on that wash, and it's good fun. Like, everyone creeps forward and everyone's sort of pushing and jostling, and we all know what we're trying to do, and then the gun goes and it's just mayhem. Like, you just go flat stick for as long as you can and hold on for as long as you can, and everyone's like, oh, it's a 45-kilometre race. Everyone will sort of ease out, ease into it and work their way into it, but it's a complete opposite. It's like the ski final at Aussies, except we're probably slower, but it's just everyone goes flat stick. It's awesome, and you just go as hard as you can for as long as you can, and when you're busted, you take a deep breath and you go again.
After 23 kilometres on the ski, they are finally coming into Miami.
I think it's so important to break the Coolangatta Gold up into the 4 sections. I think a lot of guys, and especially the younger kids, I was speaking to a few guys that are doing the gold for the first time, think of it this huge 4-hour race, whereas I just try to break it down, I guess, and just, you know, we've got to do the ski, we've got to do the swim, we've got to do the board, we've got to do the run, and I think it's towards each leg, every competitor would agree, you're just like, oh God, I can't wait to get off this ski and start swimming. And when you get halfway through the swim, you're like, I can't wait to get on my board, hey, like, you're one step closer to getting to the finish line.
As it was in last year's race, the only man able to stick with the defending champion on the first leg is Northcliffe's Michael Booth.
I think, yeah, the race is won in the head. Like, it's honestly a head battle the whole time, and it is a head battle for the however many weeks you're training, because it is very hard to get up every day and try to test your body every morning and every afternoon. But yeah, like I said, I think leading into the week from it just becomes a mental battle.
And as Day and Booth enter the 3.5 kilometre swim, Hayden White is chasing hard in third. Not far behind him, with a 2-minute deficit to our leaders, is Nathan Smith, in a loosely knitted group that contains another contender, Josh Minogue.
I try and get my legs going sort of a little bit out, because we're going to have to get up and run, and I'm sure you'll find a few people who jump off the ski and sort of fall flat on their face if their legs are gone to sleep, but the run and the swim are definitely big for me. Any weaknesses I have, like, that's all right. It's not a drama to have weaknesses. That's natural. That's to be human. But to have weaknesses and then not acknowledge them and not work hard at them, that's making a mistake. Like, I think people get a bit caught up in being invincible and being able to do everything and do everything perfect. If you come and watch me train, I'd fall off, I'd fall behind. I have good days, I have bad days. I'm up, down, here, there, everywhere, and it probably does king his head in, but that's because I'm human and because I'm not the most talented guy out there, but I understand what I need to work at and I work hard at it. And I know that with this race, if you work hard, you will get results, and you do. And my thirds have shown, like, I'm probably not talented enough to get on the podium of the gold ever. Like, I obviously wasn't if I ran 15th and 16th the first few times round, like, but I work hard enough, and that's the difference. The wins of Drury and those guys have shown, like, if you do everything right and you make no mistakes and you work hard, you can win this race. Like, anyone can win this race. And that's what makes it so great. Like, we've seen guys like Shannon, who's an absolute champion and probably, in my opinion, the greatest of all time, get halfway through the run leg and just not be able to go on, and things like that happen in these races. Like, guys lose their skis, guys they fall to pieces, guys miss wash and get left on their own, and guys take it to the entire race and say, catch me if you can, and sometimes get away with it. So why not? Like, it could be anyone's. We are a breed apart, but we're certainly not a breed above. I don't think, there's guys that go and do the Hawaiian Ironman for 8 hours, 14 hours, 20 hours that makes us look silly. So I'd say a breed apart, like, I don't know, collective love of hurt or something like that, but it's not a breed above, that's for sure.
And whilst Ali heads into the swim with an advantage, both Smith and Minogue rate their swim as their go-to leg.
It's probably no secret that the swim's going to be one of my strong legs. So I'll be pushing the pace, whether to try and get a bigger gap or trying to bridge the gap in the swim leg, and then I'll be trying to hang on after that. So definitely my mind, I'll be trying to play some mind games, maybe talk to a few of the competitors whilst I'm out there, tell them that they might look like they're hurting or they're sweating a lot or they're pushing it a bit, tell them to back off, and then I'm gonna try and put the nail in the coffin in the swim leg and try and break them from there.
It's probably a time when I'd like to, if I'm in contact, sort of start to put some pressure on, and if I'm not, make up a lot of ground in that first sort of 2K run and then 3.5K of swimming. It's my background and what I think I do really well, and so it's an important time in the race for me.
Recapping the positions off the ski in the men's long course, Michael Booth and Ali Day were the fastest through 23 kilometres in a time of 1 hour 44 minutes. 90 seconds ahead of Hayden White and just over 2 minutes ahead of a group containing Nathan Smith, Matt Bevilacqua and Josh Minogue. Hugh Doherty was off to a disappointing start, a further 2 minutes back. The Gold Coast. Beautiful one day, perfect the next. The ideal place to visit and recharge the batteries, or relax the mind and body. Unfortunately for our athletes though, relaxation is not an option in the Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold. And our open women are out on the long course for the first time in history.
You rise up, stay strong. Work hard, you break free. We are young, we are strong, we can rise and overcome. We will rise.
Today, they push themselves further than they have ever tried. And to meet this ultimate challenge of endurance and speed, many long months of training were needed.
It is a routine. It's get up in the. It actually starts the night before, so you get everything ready, pack your bags. They're all ready to go at the front door. You wake up in the morning. It's protein shakes, straight out for swimming, work, run, gym, everything. It's full on. So you've got to love it to be able to keep going like that.
You fight hard.
I think this year, I've been a bit different with emotionally. I think last year, I think I was so wrapped into, just had my eye on that gold, on the prize of winning, and that's what I wanted. But this year, to be honest, I haven't even thought of that. I've honestly just been very excited about doing the long course for starters, hearing about that going, yes, I'm definitely going to be in that field. I'm going to be on that line and do it because, as I said, it marks the first day of surf life saving men and women equal and doing the long course. So I said no matter what, I'll be on that start line. And since then, I've just I think I've really enjoyed the training this year. I feel like I've gotten a lot stronger. I've focused on a few different things. I've done maybe a few little different training things that have, maybe helped me kind of give me that little edge, and I've just really enjoyed myself throughout the whole training. I think sometimes with the gold training, can ask many athletes, it gets a little bit, at the end of it, kind of maybe not boring, but you just want to get out and race because you're finished with your training. So this year haven't even thought of gold, honestly. So maybe that'll help me, not thinking about that too much.
In the off-season, I started this other type of training called Zoo, but then they do this thing on the side called Anchor, and what it is you train under load, so it's resistance training. I'm strapped into a harness, and you have 2 bungee cords that are strapped to the wall. And you work under load. They're designed for short-term workouts, and it shoots your heart rate up, and you got to hold it. It's just something different, than doing the usual stuff that everyone does. I don't like gyms. I don't do gym, so this is my type of gym, and it's all own body weight. So it's really hard. It's awesome. Mentally, like when you're in it and your heart rate's at your max level and you're trying to hold it and the people are yelling at you and you're trying to do these movements, it makes you mentally tough. And that's what I like about it, but also strong. Like I'm using my own body weight, so I think it works for me, and if in my mind I think it works, well then it's going to work.
We are young, we are strong, we can rise and overcome, we will rise.
Today, the Hurt Bank is open, and every cent invested along the way will be withdrawn in this gruelling test. So far, Elizabeth Plumers has managed to build herself a handy lead, and in the swim, she manages to stretch it even further. The pressure truly on the chasers now, as Hancock is second to rise from the ocean and move towards her board.
For me, this weekend it would definitely be one to tick off, that's for sure, because we are doing the actual big Coolangatta Gold this year. Before it's been amazing doing the shorter course, but to actually have this opportunity to do what the men have been doing the last few years, I think it's a huge honour for all the women this year.
Moya losing 2 minutes to Hancock and Plumers in the swim, as she moves onto her favoured board leg in third.
I've done only one run through once, and I only did a run through once last year. So it was enough. I was like, that's definitely enough, not that again. I'll wait for race day. And it was good. It was a really good run through. I didn't do it easy, but you know what I mean? Like I know that I can definitely be out there for the time. But it's always different when you race it. Everyone can do a run through, but racing's just a different feeling.
Back out in front, and in what could prove to be a stroke of luck for the perennial bridesmaid, Elizabeth Plumers, she has found a men's team competitor to paddle with. Riding on his wake, she continues to push her advantage.
I think, you could sit on the wash the whole session. I think Reece Jury did that one year. He was wash ride the whole way, just sat there and then just came home in the run, bang. And you know what? It's not unfair, that's just surf.
It's such a long race and there's so many factors involved that anything can happen. So a race plan can chop and change. It's just you've got to be on the ball to be able to think of that next step.
Moya and Hancock both alone, and both struggling to maintain contact behind.
This year in Northcliffe we've had a bit of a smaller group doing the gold. There's been 4 of us who have been training together, and I think that's been quite nice. We've all pushed ourselves along really strongly, and both those times I did it by myself. We were all kind of scattered along the coast, and I think that really helped me mentally get through it, because I know I can do it by myself. I don't need anyone there to push me. I don't need to be on anyone's wash or anything. I know that what you see now, I can do it by myself.
Jordan Mercer appears at transition 4 minutes behind Moya.
To be up against these women who are a lot older than me, even though now I'm not really looked at as the rookie, having been doing this event for as long as they have, really, but I'm still sort of 5 to 6 years younger than a lot of my competitors, so I've really had to change the body shape and get serious about things, and power to weight ratio, all these different things. It really is, it's a science, trying to perfect your body, getting ready to rock and ready for that start line, because I mean, it sounds silly, but this is the temple, this is the engine. You've really got to look after yourself and your body, because it's what I'm relying on for my day job. And I think that the Coolangatta Gold especially, it is just the cream of the crop. The women that you see winning this event have put in the hard yards, and it's not a victory that comes with any ease at all.
Recapping the positions out of the swim in the women's long course, and Elizabeth Plumas held a 2-minute lead over 2011 champion Courtney Hancock, and it was now over 4 minutes back to the defending champion Brodie Moyer. Jordan Mercer in fourth was now over 6 minutes adrift ahead of Tara Coleman and Tennille Devine. The Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold. And the crowd gathered at Burleigh Beach are craning their necks to try to follow our open male athletes in the swim.
If we talk about individual legs, I think it's so important you get down in the front pack in the ski. I think it's very important to swim, because it's such a boring and lonely place out there. You can't talk, you can't really sort of see anyone, what's around you.
It's hard to tell from the shore just what change, if any, has occurred, but as our athletes exit the water, it becomes evident that our leader is still last year's champion.
And then the board's probably one of the hardest legs, because after going for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, you're on the most uncomfortable craft. And then once you get off that, your legs, your shoulders, you're sunburnt by that stage, and you're really tired. And then that last run leg you got to be on for that last run leg, because I think you blink for a second, you lose focus. That's when you can lose a race. So the whole race is hard from the get-go. Training for this race is hard. Getting to the start line's really hard. Organising it all, but doing the actual race is, you just got to break it down, I guess. And I don't know, Michael King's prepared our squad at Mooloolaba here very well.
And whilst both Nathan Smith and Josh Minogue have made up positions to exit the water second and third, they have actually dropped back to almost 4 minutes adrift of day.
Nothing prepares you for the actual race. You can do 4-hour races in training and get through it, but you don't know how your body will respond when you have to push that 5 or 10% harder.
Probably not as, I was certainly not as good a board paddler as Huey, Smithy, Days. So for me, it's after that swim, sort of limit any damage, find a wash, relax, get ready for that last run leg. It's the board's a hard period in the race. The board's a really hard period for anyone who's done it. They know it's lonely. You sort of paddle out of Burleigh and you don't really see anyone for for those 6Ks until you get in there, and if you're feeling bad, it can make you feel a whole lot worse. Or if you're bringing people in, then you feel real good about yourself because you know how hard it is for them at that point. So it's a mental battle. The board leg, it's sort of dealing with how you're feeling and the ups and downs of the whole race. Like you're going to go up and feel good at different points, and there's going to be times when you think, I'm out here, this is me done. So it's probably a matter of just writing those out and remembering that there's still a long way to go.
You have to perceive yourself as doing it easy and comfortably when others are doing it harder. And if you look across to your right or your left and you see those guys blowing a little bit, then you might only get one opportunity to break them in the Coolangatta Gold, and that might be the opportunity right now, and you need to take it then. A lot of guys will sit back and wait because it's a long race. I'm the opposite. I want to be aggressive, and if somebody's hurting and I can see that, then I'm going to push the pace really bad. And a few little choice words might come in handy as well. That I thought they might have been going quicker, so we'll see how we go.
And whilst Ali powered away out in front, the battle for the podium was heating up. Josh Minogue dropping positions as Hayden White, Michael Booth and David Graham all paddle past, looking to stake their claim for a top 3 finish. It was daylight second as Ali came off the board. His lead seemingly insurmountable. But in this epic endurance test, nothing can be taken for granted.
The whole time when I was on the board, from Burleigh to Currumbin, I was thinking, am I pulling away? Are they catching me? Because there's so many competitors around, and that's when you start to get a bit fatigued and tired, and you're like, we had the wind slapping our face the whole time, and I was thinking, I'm a bit confused here. Are these guys catching me from behind, or am I keeping the same lead, or am I extending this lead? But it's funny because when I was running along that beach, no one really knew. I was yelling out to my handless guys, telling me how much I got.
Almost 6 full minutes behind our race leader and defending champion, Nathan Smith hits the beach. Whilst his dream of winning this iconic event seems to have bolted along with Ali Day, he is still determined to equal his best ever finish of second. No sure thing, with 4 other competitors hitting the beach within 40 seconds of him. Hayden White, Michael Booth, David Graham and Josh Minogue are next to transition to the run.
That run leg is everything in the Gold. Like there's been lead changes, when there's a blowout, it's because of that run leg. It's the end of the race. I think there'll be a group, or a relative group, guys will be close enough, if good enough, at the end of the board. They mightn't be right next to each other, but I'm certain that there'll be 2 or 3 guys that if they're good enough in that final run leg, they'll be able to run to the lead, and yeah, it'll make it interesting. It's a great run. Like you run along and there's people on the beach everywhere giving you high fives, and you just don't get any closer to Coolangatta. It just stays out there and stays out there and stays out there, and before you know it, all of a sudden, bang, it's there and it's over, and I guess you think, oh, could I have done any more? Could I have done any more? So getting to the end of that run leg, or getting into the middle of that run leg, and just deciding that you're going to do everything you possibly can to catch the guys in front, or to stay away from whoever's behind you, that'll be the key.
Recapping the order off the board, and after 3.5 hours of racing, Ali Day held what would likely prove a winning lead of almost 6 minutes. Nathan Smith sat in second just ahead of Hayden White, Michael Booth and David Graham. Josh Minogue had a disappointing board leg, dropping to 6th. The iconic Gold Coast, one of Australia's most loved tourist destinations, and a jewel in the crown of Queensland. Today, it plays host to an event as iconic as the location itself, the Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold. Our open women have been racing for longer than they ever have before. They are nearing the final stages of their first ever attempt at the long course.
What I like about it is that this is my third year of doing the Gold, and I've done 3 different courses. So it's not been the same for me, so it's good.
It is going to be a different sort of race. Tactics is going to play a big role, but yeah, you never know what's going to happen. It's sort of that unknown feeling at the moment without anyone having raced it before.
It's just great that we get to do what the men are doing. I think it's just even, it's just fair, and we are just as tough as them. We do all the hard training. I remember about a month ago, you push yourself so hard, and I think we just deserve to do it. And this year, I think it's just, I hope the sport just keeps going forward with this. I hope it's just another tick off to make surf life-saving Ironwoman racing worldwide known. That's my goal. That's my biggest goal in the sport.
Perennial bridesmaid Elizabeth Plumas has experienced her fair share of heartache in this event. And it seems this has given her the drive and tenacity to work her way into a handy lead. And while she holds a commanding advantage, Liz Plumas should know better than most that premature celebrations are a dangerous thing.
I'm not a bad runner, but I'm not the greatest runner. So you can do all the hard work in the surf, you can even wash right a little bit and get a little bit of help, but come that final run leg, it's down to you, and you've just got to give it all you've got in the end.
In 2009, Elizabeth Plumas was on her way to a podium finish. She had just metres left to travel, yet she would not finish the race. Ever since that day, her relationship with this event has been an emotional and mental battle. Then, in 2011, she came painfully close once more. However, this time, she holds a sizable advantage over the woman that denied her that year.
I used to feel nervous getting off the board because I wanted to feel how my legs were feeling. I guess, if they're not feeling good, well then you're out the back door because you can make so much ground up in that run. So, last year I felt great, even though I wasn't able to get there in the end. I really felt like I could keep on running for miles. So I think basically getting off that board, you're just like, okay, here we go. Please feel good.
Courtney comes off the board 5 minutes behind. This year, there will be no sprint finish. And as abruptly as her collapse came in 2009, Elizabeth Plumas hits the finish chute. No wobbly legs or dazed expression, just a smile that realises an achievement she has dreamed of for almost a decade.
Liz, congratulations, winner of the first ever Enduro long distance Coolangatta Gold. How was it?
It was brutal. It absolutely hurt the body. I just had nothing left at the end. That final run leg, I was just, you've just got to keep running. You've done everything you can, just keep the body moving, just don't stop and walk. So I had the bit of the jelly legs walking up those last stairs, and I thought, oh my God, I'm just going to have to walk to the finish line here, but it was amazing.
Now, you had a little bit of time away. Did that make it a little bit easier to get back into it?
I think that just did the world of good. I was really mentally struggling before. I just fell out of love with it, hated getting up for swimming in the morning, and that break just made me hungry to do it again. And to be the first woman to win the long course Coolangatta Gold history, I'm so stoked.
In a dominant display of running, last year's champion Brodie Moyer takes over 3 minutes off Courtney Hancock in the final 7 kilometres and takes second.
Winner last year, second this year. It's a tough way to finish off.
Yeah, it is. Like, you know, I should be really proud with second, but, you know, to always lose your title, it's always a little bit of a disappointment. And I guess this one was pretty special to me to, like, you know, be the first girl to win the gold long course. But in saying that, Elizabeth did an amazing job and she was just better on the day.
Courtney Hancock rounds out the podium of the first ever long course race in women's history.
Congratulations on the podium for the 2013 Coolangatta Gold. How was the race?
Yeah, look, the first time the girls have done the long one, so it was, yeah, didn't know what to expect out there. Definitely tough, obviously a bit disappointed at the end of the day, but look, I was glad to be a part of it and be in the field for the first time for the ladies.
And for the young Jordan Mercer, a 4th place result and improvement on her previous efforts. She will no doubt be back next year with more knowledge, experience and hunger. So, the final standings, and Elizabeth Plumas finally breaks through for her first Coolangatta Gold victory, ahead of defending champion Brodie Moyer and the woman who denied Plumas last time she raced, Courtney Hancock. Jordan Mercer put in a great performance to finish 4th, ahead of Tara Coleman and Tennille Devine. Hundreds of athletes will cross the long course finish line today, but it is likely none will have worked harder, fought longer, or battled as many demons out on course as our new women's champion. The Chic Hydro 2013 Coolangatta Gold, 41.8 kilometres of pain. A mental and physical grind so demanding that some never make the finish. For our open men, the sight of Coolangatta Beach in the distance is a welcome one. For Ali Day, it is the promise of back-to-back victories in a race only a select few have won.
It's the best feeling in the world. It's honestly surreal. You're standing up there and there's so many people that have helped you, and I think it's so important to go back in time and almost look back and all the people that I said that have helped you and all the hard times you've faced along the way to that point. I think it's really important to reflect on that, and it's a feeling that's unbeatable, and everyone that's been in that position wants that to happen again, I think. And yeah, like I said, it's a very bizarre feeling from one day to be racing as a nipper to the next day you're a Coolangatta Gold champion and you're named alongside some of the best names in our sport.
Behind him, Nathan Smith has had his share of success at the Gold. However, like legend Dean Mercer, he has never managed to quite capture a win despite always making the podium.
2006, I identified the race as something that I wanted to do and wanted to do well in, so I spent a lot of time and had a lot of focus and dedication towards it. And 4 Coolangatta Golds later, I've been on the podium all 4 times, but I haven't cracked it for the top one. And it just goes to show that the training that I had been doing and that I've put in place and my coaching team, they've been doing a fantastic job, that everything's been working.
This year, we'll see another podium, but also another year where he sees someone else's name added to the gold trophy he's fought so hard to be engraved on. Behind him, Josh Minogue, who has fought his way from 6th to 3rd on the run.
It's 100% from the start until either you crack or your competitors crack. And if it's you who cracks, then you have to get your kit together and just go again. And that's it. Like, it's nothing sort of out of a psychology book. It's just you sort of go until you can't go anymore, then gather all the pieces up and go again, and hopefully it's enough.
Meanwhile, age groupers, masters and team competitors are doing it tough out on the course. A reminder that anyone can enter this race.
It's one of the great things where you can be Shannon Eckstein, or you can be Jimmy Smith from wherever, and you can turn up and you have your chance to win. This is your chance. If you're hungry enough and work hard enough and want it bad enough, then this is your day, and you can turn up and have a crack. So that's why it's so good.
One of those having a crack was Welshman Glenn Clatworthy. He finishes second in the Masters 40 to 49 age group.
I pushed hard in the... I saw like I had second wind after the ski. I couldn't wait to get off there. I cramped up on the old glutes and the hamstrings on the ski, so I just had to get through that, and then yeah, I felt good for the rest of it.
The man he came second to, Ashley Massey, had done this race just once before, the original in 1984.
Where do we run?
20 years since last race. Yeah, look, I was got 20 years ago, so it's nice to get a win under my belt, that's for sure. A bit harder this though, it seems a bit longer.
Yeah, you feel like you put this race to bed now, or will you keep doing it?
Oh, I think I'll leave it now, I think. You know, I did enjoy it, and really, as I said earlier, you know, I train with the kids and they get me fit, and you know, I enjoy the sport. I love the sport. It's a great, life-saving's great, and this race is iconic in the life-saving world, and it's an important race. I think it's great to see the sponsors coming on board and the Open, and I'm really interested to see how the Opens go today.
Massey not having to wait long as our leader enters the finish chute. The defending champion, a young star of the sport, Ali Day.
Ali Day, congratulations, winner of the 2013 Coolangatta Gold, second year in a row. Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, I didn't have the greatest of starts, Clado. I pulled us back at the start, brought us back around. I got caught up in a few paddles and ended up breaking away a little bit on my own in the ski, which was in one way good, and the other way it was pretty bad because you don't know who's catching you. You don't know if you're extending the lead or anything. Got off the ski with Boothie, and then yeah, just in that, I knew like in that swim that was it for me. I had to break him, and then after that I got out of the swim and just worked it on the board, and then ran the last run as hard as I could. Can I sit down for a sec, man? Not feeling that today. Can I just sit down for a sec?
The demands of this grueling race evident. Nathan Smith comes in second, his fifth podium in 5 attempts.
Oh, mate, I think Ali was just far too strong. Superior athlete. Mate, he trains like a champion, and he proves today that's exactly what he is. So, mate, I've had 5 starts and 5 times on the podium. Never cracked it for the big one, but nonetheless, I'm 32. I've got 2 great little daughters. Love my wife, got fantastic support behind me, so I couldn't be happier, and I think that might be it.
And after slipping behind on the board, Josh Minogue has been picking off his competition on the run. He manages to work his way back onto the podium for a 3rd time.
I did what I wanted. Like, I wanted to get out hard and get into sort of the front pack, and I was just off that pace and sort of had a good ski, but it hurt me, and swam into sort of second with Smithy and was second and third with Nathan the whole way and swimming the board, and just sort of had a bit of a run battle at the end. But yeah, it hurt. It was a long run home. It seemed to get no closer at the end there, but it was yeah, it was great. The Gold's an awesome event, and it's I'm pretty stoked. I'm full credit to Schick and Nutrigrain and Surf Life Saving putting on such a great day.
The final standing in the Open Men's, and Ali Day retains his championship title, ahead of Nathan Smith, who tastes disappointment for the 5th time. Josh Minogue matches his best result and his result from last year in 3rd. ahead of Hayden White, David Graham and Michael Booth. However, today has once again belonged to Day.
Well,